All right. So this is the probability जो हाँ आप लोग पढ़ते रहे हैं in your high school. This is the uniform probability. This is the most natural or trivial way to assign probabilities. आप ये करते हैं कि आपकी जितनी outcomes हैं, अगर आपके पास let's say 5 outcomes हैं, तो you assign 1/5 to every one of them. Okay, that's the most easiest way to assign probabilities to them. Okay, because इसको सबको sum करेंगे तो you would get 1, इनमें से किसी भी दो को जमा करेंगे तो you 2 or 5 हो जाएगा. तो everything works out fine whenever you define it like this. This thing is called a uniform probability or uniform distribution. Why do they call it distribution? Because the thing is मेरे पास I'm actually distributing the 1. 1 is the total probability of the sample, and I'm distributing it over all the outcomes in my sample space, right? उसको मैं जैसे भी distribute करूँ, uniformly distribute करने का मतलब ये है कि I'm giving everyone equal share of that one probability. Okay, if there are n outcomes in my sample space, everyone is going to get 1/n of the share. So that's the sort of most trivial way to assign probabilities for an event. So in case means the probability of each event is 1 over the cardinality of S, whatever the cardinality of S is. Okay. और इस case में हम assume करते हैं कि the cardinality of S is finite. Okay. All right. So this is called uniform probability. Usually, when people say that I did this randomly, they usually mean this thing. Okay. They usually mean that they did it with uniform probability. So if they picked up a random number, they usually mean that they picked a random number uniformly with uniform probability or with uniform distribution. Okay. Here's an example that I would like someone to solve. So what probabilities should we assign to the outcomes head and tail when a fair coin is flipped?
1/2.
Yeah. So there are two things in your outcome, H and T. Fairness का मतलब ये है कि both of them are equally likely. So there are two outcomes. So it's 1/2 each. Great. What probabilities should you assign to these outcomes when the coin is slightly biased and the heads comes up twice as often as tails?
2/3 and 1/3.
2/3 and 1/3.
Yeah, so basically the probability of heads is equal to 2 times the probability of tail. Okay, और हमें ये पता है कि the probability of head, probability of tail is equal to 1. So let us just write it down. Probability of heads is plus probability of tails is sorry, probability of head को मैं यहाँ पे replace कर देता हूँ. So this would be 2 times the probability of tails. And probability of tail is equal to 1. So you get probability of T is 1/3. Okay, and this implies that probability of head is equal to 2 times probability of tail, which is 2/3. Okay, so that's another way of assigning probabilities. Ab is case mein this is not uniform. Okay, because the probability of head is different from the probability of tail, and we say that the coin is biased in this case. Suppose that a die is biased so that 6 appears twice as often as each other number, but all other 5 numbers are equally likely. What is the probability that an odd number appears when we roll this dice? So we are interested in this event, okay? The event that I get an odd number, which is 1, 3, and 5. Okay? मैंने इस event की probability compute करनी है. I think I haven't told you how to compute the probability of this event yet. So it's a probability of 1 plus the probability of 3 plus the probability of 5, right? This is what the definition says, right? And now we need to compute the probability of each one of them. Yeah, unless you were saying something.
Sir, I am saying that it would be 3/7 because we will take 2 times.
Okay, so Okay, let's, I think you're right, but let's do it anyway, okay? So 6 appears twice as often as each of these events, okay? So the probability of 1 is equal to probability of 2 is equal to probability of 3 is equal to probability of 4 is equal to probability of 5, and probability of 6 is basically equal to 2 times the probability of 1, okay? And the sum of these probabilities is, so I is between 1 and 6 is equal to 1. And let us replace each one of them. So I would get 5 times probability of 1 plus 2 times probability of 1 is equal to 1. So I would get probability of 1 is 1 over 7. Okay. For all of them, this is just 1 over 7. For 6, this is going to be 2 over 7. Great. So it's 1 over 7 plus 1 over 7 plus 1 over 7 for each one of them. So it's 3 over 7 for this event. All right. Is everyone following, or did we lose someone here?
तो ये समझ आ गई है, लेकिन अनस ने जिस तरह कहा है कि वो डायरेक्टली 2 टाइम्स आ रहा है, वो यानी कि कोई शॉर्टकट है, ये किस तरह होगा?
No, there is no shortcut. You have to do this. उसने जरा जल्दी यही कर लिया जो
मैंने भी
हमने
इसे
किया.
किया था जब वर्डिंग चेंज कर दी थी.
Yeah. So you need to do this, okay? So you use two facts. एक तो आपने ये use करना है fact कि the sum of their probabilities is 1, okay? और दूसरा आपने ये use करना है कि all of these probabilities are same except for the last one, okay? So you put all of this in the formula and you get probability of one event. Once you know the probability of one event, you can compute the probability of the other events, okay? All right, here is another one. There are many lotteries now that award enormous prizes to people who correctly choose a set of 6 numbers out of the first n positive integers. Okay, so where n is roughly between 30 and 60, what's the probability that a person uniformly randomly picks correct 6 numbers out of 40? This is a set of 6 numbers. Okay, so their order does not matter. But you have to choose 6 numbers. Okay, so again, figure out what the experiment is. Experiment is pick 6 numbers from 1 to 60, 1 to 40. Okay, what is the sample space? And then
Sir,
we'll
these
figure
would be
out
different or same?
what.
6 numbers are different.
These are 6 different numbers. Yeah. Did it say anything set of 6 numbers? So it's a set, right? So set में तो different होंगे. Okay, what is the sample space?
30 to 60.
So you have to choose 6 numbers from 1 to 40. Okay, so basically your sample space is all possible 6 sets from 1 to 40. Okay, so this is going to be so A, B, C, D, E, and F, and this is a very poor notation. I can probably do better. Let me give me one more chance. So let me call it A1,
Sir,
A2, A3. Yes, I'm listening.
I'm like confused about the fact that it says that a set of 6 numbers out of the first n positive integers, where
Yeah.
n is usually between 30 and 60. So
Yes.
why are we like beginning from 1 to 40?
So what's saying is lottery may they use the number, they use some number between 30 and 60. Okay. Now he's saying that he fixed that number to be 40. इस question के लिए.
Okay.
Okay. So this was sort of background information, which is sort of a bit confusing. Okay, so you have to choose 6 numbers from 1 to 40. Okay, so you have AI is not equal to AJ, or AI is between 1 and 40. So this is your sample space, and what is the probability that you guess a correct number?
One
Guys, let me
over.
just say that the probability is just a language that is being used to do counting. Okay, counting अगर आपको आती है ना, probability is nothing more than just a language. It's just doing the counting, and you'll see. All right, so
It will be 6 by 40,
Yes, sir.
3 by
oh
20, or 6 by 40.
no no no
So
no no
it's
no.
1 by 40, choose 6 because we have 40, choose
Yeah, yeah.
6
So the thing is, what's the
possible.
size of the sample space?
Oh yeah, I get it. Every time the number decreases by 1 when we choose one card.
Yeah. So the size of the sample space is 42.6. That's how many 6 size sets you can choose from 40 numbers, right? So इस case में so that's how many options you have, and each one of them is equally likely because you are doing them uniformly, randomly. Okay, so the probability that you pick a fixed number, and let's call that number a success, is equal to 1 over 42.6. Okay, and this is like, I don't know, less than 1 a million. Okay, this number is I think it's larger than 1 million. It's probably it's more than more than a few millions. Okay, so the chance of picking 6 unique numbers from 1 to 40 which match that fixed number is quite small. All right, so here is a formula for probability that we use in the case of uniform probability. ये याद रखिएगा, we are only talking about uniform probability now. इस case में the probability of an event is the size of that event divided by the size of the sample space. Okay, and why is this true? We know this probability is the sum of probabilities of each outcomes, right? This was the definition of probability of an event. अब मुझे ये पता है कि all of them are equal, right? And all of them are equal to 1 over the cardinality of S, right? And how many are they? They are as that they are equal to the size of the sample space, size of the set. Okay, so it's 1 over S times the size of A, which is what this is. Okay, so this is an easy formula for a uniform probability case. If you want to compute the probability of an event, all you need to do is compute the size of that set and divide it by the size of the whole sample space. If you know these two numbers, you know the probability of that event. Questions? All right, I think this is going to be a slightly more interesting question. So,
सर
how many of you have played cards? Yeah.
सर पिछले क्वेश्चन में हमने
मैंने
हमने जो सैंपल स्पेस चूज किया था वो तो मतलब उसमें कीजिएगा सर प्लीज, वो लास्ट क्वेश्चन में उसमें सैंपल स्पेस ये फॉर्मूला मतलब किस तरह से अप्लाई हो रहा है? आई एम नॉट गेटिंग इट।
और इस केस में वैसे इसकी ज़रूरत नहीं है, लेकिन अगर करना है तो कर लो। इस केस में जो इवेंट है ना, वो उसका साइज सिर्फ एक है। देयर इज वन यूनिक सेट जो हमें चाहिए। ओके, किसी ने फिक्स कर लिया कि उसने अपने सेट के अंदर रखा हुआ है 10, 11, 39, 0, सॉरी 0 तो नहीं है, 0 इज नॉट देयर, लेट्स से 1 है और 2 है और 21 है। ओके, उसने ये 6 नंबर्स चूज किए हुए हैं और वो कह रहा है कि और ये हिडन है। ओके, एंड देन ही गिव्स यू एन ऑप्शन ऑफ चूजिंग 6 नंबर्स फ्रॉम 1 to 40, और जब वो इसके साथ मैच हो जाएंगे 6 नंबर तो यू विन द लॉटरी। ओके, अब देयर इज ओनली वन विनिंग कॉम्बिनेशन, which means कि जो आपका सेट है, सक्सेस का सेट है, उसका साइज सिर्फ 1 है, एक कॉम्बिनेशन है जो आपको चाहिए. Okay, out of all these combinations, which are 42 choose 6. Does it make
Yes.
sense?
जी सर, वो मैं सैंपल स्पेस नहीं बना पा रहा था, अब पता चल गया 40 चूज 6 होगी सैंपल स्पेस.
हाँ. Just keep in mind that it's not 40. हम पहले 40 नंबर में से एक नंबर नहीं पिक कर रहे, हम 40 नंबर्स में से 6 नंबर पिक कर रहे हैं. So there are 40 choose 6 ways to pick those numbers. Okay, ये कौन है? अब्दुल मुकद्दम है?
नौफल से.
Nofal है. Okay. All right, let's do this problem. And I was asking, how many of you guys are familiar with the card games? Probably everyone is. Is there someone who has never played cards?
Yes, sir.
Oh, all right. Okay.
Much familiar.
Okay. So here's the thing. That's all the background information you need. There are 52 cards in general. Okay, and each card is one of the 13 kinds. And the kinds are you get a 2, 3. So numbers from 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then there is a Jack. Oh, there is a 10 as well. Okay, sorry. 10, and then there is a Jack, and there is a Queen, there is a King, and there is an Ace. Okay, so these are the 13 types of cards, and each card is वो एक suite या suit से भी belong करता है. Okay, and these are spades, clubs, and hearts and diamond. Okay, so if you have a card, it could be एक तो उसकी कोई kind होगी. Okay, so it could be, for example, 9. Okay, and then इसका एक suit भी होगा. I don't know how do they pronounce it. Is it a suite or is it a suit?
It's a suit.
Okay, suit. So it could be, for example, 9 of diamonds. Okay, or 9 of clubs or spades or hearts. Okay, so हर कार्ड की दो आइडेंटिटीज हैं, एक तो उसकी काइंड और दूसरा उसका सूट. So that's how you identify it. There are 13 kinds and there are 4 suits. So 13 into 4 is 52. So that's how many cards you have. And now you play games, and there are many games that you can play. In poker, each hand has 5 cards. Okay, so there are 4 people sitting. Let's call them X, Y, W, X, Y, Z, and each one gets 5 cards. Okay, and now assume they are randomly assigned. And now I think we can read the question. The question says, what is the probability that a hand of 5 cards in poker contains 4 cards of the same kind, one kind? Okay, so he randomly gave me 5 cards. What's the probability? So I have cards, let's say C1, C2, C3, and C4. And what's the probability that all of these 4 cards are of the same kind? Remember, there are 13 kinds. So I would recommend that सबसे पहले you find out what's the sample space and what's the size of the sample space. What's the sample space?
52 choose 5. 52 choose 5.
Yeah, so there are 52 cards and I have to choose 5 of them. Okay, so जो मेरी sample space है उसका size is 52 choose 5. And these 5 are going to be different cards. All of these cards are different. अगर ये दोनों चीजें आप मिला लें, उसकी kind और उसका suit, तो you get a different card. So there are 52 cards and I have to pick uniformly 5. तो मेरी जो sample space है उसका size 50 choose 5 है. Okay, and now I need to find out the size of my successful event. That ये वो इवेंट है जिसमें मेरे पास मैंने जो 5 कार्ड चुने हैं उनमें से 4 एक ही काइंड के हैं.
Sir, I think इसमें 4 जो हैं वो defined है already because they have to be they all have to be of the same kind.
Same kind, yes.
So there are 13 possibilities for the C's.
Okay.
And then the 5th one we can choose out of any of the remaining 48 cards. So
Perfect.
that gives us 48 into 13.
Okay, so the thing is all 4 cards, and you're right, Abdur Rahman, right?
Hassan Abdurrahman ji.
Okay, so you have these 4 cards. Okay, they are of the same kind, but there are 13 possible kinds. Okay, so I have 13 possibilities, or 13 choose one possibilities to choose the kind of these cards. Okay, once I have picked the kind, उस kind के मेरे पास सिर्फ 4 cards ही होंगे और वो यही 4 cards होंगे. Okay, हर kind के सिर्फ 4 cards हैं. So I get that. So that's fine. अब मेरे पास जो remaining cards हैं, अब मैंने उसमें से एक card pick करना है because I was supposed to pick 5 cards, right? How many cards are remaining? 4 cards मैंने pick कर लिए 52 में से, so I'm left with 48 cards. Okay, so I have to choose one card from those 58 cards. Okay, so I do that, and that's it. That's the size of A. Okay, अब मैंने अगर probability compute करनी है तो probability of A is just this number divided by the size of the sample space, which is 52. Choose 5. Okay, uniform event था तो इसलिए मैं वो वाला फार्मूला यूज कर सकता हूँ. Once again, the main question is to compute the size of S and to compute the size of A. Okay, and to compute the size of A, you need to find out how many possibilities are there to choose 5 cards so that 4 of them are of the same kind. Okay.
Sir, I have a question.
Yeah.
If this question had specified the order of picking the cards, then
Yes.
this formula won't work, right?
Yeah, I agree. Let me just think about it. Yes. Okay. So उस केस में आपको ये कहना पड़ेगा कि I picked 5 cards in order. Okay. Let's call them C1, C2, C3, C4, and C5. Okay. And then you would have to say कि जो पहले 4 cards हैं, they are of the same kind. Okay.
Yes, sir.
And then you would say कि जो 5th card है, it's of a different kind. But let me think about it. Am I doing something wrong here? Just give me a second.
Sir, I think in this case, each member of the sample space is a set itself. But in that case, it will be a permutation, not a set. So it will.
Yeah, no. So ये जो केस है ना, इसके अंदर जो आपका सैंपल स्पेस का साइज होगा, सॉरी, वो हो जाएगा 52 into 51 into 50 into 49 into 48. Okay, so you have because the order matters, right? There are 52 choices for the first card, 51 for the second card, 50 for the next, and 49 so on. Okay, so instead of 52 choose 5, you would have this number because the order matters now. I'm just thinking कि original case में हम कुछ गलत तो नहीं कर रहे.
नहीं सर ओके लग रहा है सर क्योंकि यस सर ओके लग रहा है.
Okay, just give me a second. You pick a suit, pick 4 cards from there, and you're done. And then from the remaining, you pick 1 card. Okay. Okay, I think we are okay. ठीक है.